Mitro picking up a knock on Falconly in the feet. Another one for the trio, 7 remaining. I've got to say, if this is not a win for this team, I don't know what is.
It's going to be a close one. Mongo actually did not have any more AR left in his gun. There's no more RPG left here. It's a straight-up shotgun battle. This is a crucial elim. That's going to get them some of the resources that they need to hold this high ground here. And it looks like it's cutting back across, so lucky for them, they're going to be able to kind of reuse some of their resource here. We have a couple players left in the game here. Red Rush and low ground. Shotgun and Cal as well. There's Mitro just raining fire. That tac sub SMG is so good for shredding through builds right here. And honestly, they can pierce through the turbos like right there. These are the shots. Good pressure right here from Mitro, putting down the fire, putting all the ammunition to use here. We're almost in the final zone now. This is it. Storm Zone 9. The close in will happen. Looks like Benji Fishy's going to go for that high ground. You saw him elevate himself right there. So he's going to get out of the harm's way of the shockwave, and Mitro's going to stay down here and just get down and dirty with the TAC SMG right now, Lupo.
You have to remember at the last set of placements here, the points you pick up as you go from 5th to 4th and 3rd to 2nd, and then the victory royale. So every time you see a player go down, right there, the 4 trios remaining get even more points. As soon as one more trio goes down, we'll get it 1st and 2nd, and that's it. And now the very last second, the spray from above. This honestly, as soon as we got to top 40, this was Mongrel, Mitro, Benji Fishy all the way to the end. No surprise here.
And a monstrous 12 elim game right there. And you saw even in the final moments, they did try to drop a couple of medium bullets there. But with that, we're going to send it over to the studio with Zeke. Down. What do you have for us?
Oh man, MMB starting off the day strong. We're one step closer to Shio eating an entire jar of mayonnaise.
It's escalated because he said cup, but we really didn't define cup. Some people was like, is this standard measuring cup? And someone was like, honestly, it should be a World Cup. I was actually just back in the kitchen looking to see if we could find any mail to make a run tomorrow, because after that last game, it was just incredible. So that is 2 matches down in the heat. Let's take a look first at the standings and see where we're at after the first 2 games, because, that's weird. Who's that up top?
It might as well just be Shio, Heat, mayonnaise.
I mean,
I think
so the one thing, and we saw they had a number of elims. They were in actually 4th place after the first match, but then the 12 elim plus the victory royale. He's talking about it. Every single one of those being 8 points, and then the victory royale being 15 as well, pushing them up to 38. They're already 7 points clear of Falcony, Robabs, and the Vic, who've been playing very well. 19 elims there is pushing them 5 points clear of Amplified Hero and Mapso, who had an incredible first game. I mean, it's been an I just want to throw out
a quick little apology. Based on score, I had assumed that because Matsui Miro and Amplify had first place, that they had the victory royale. They, in fact, did not. So, my apologies. All we were given was placement on the screen. That's my bad. Back to you.
We got to keep them honest, and we love him very much for it. But don't forget, the top 8 are moving on from this heat. So right now, you must be this far right. So we're looking at just top 8, the points. 18, that's just like a victory round is worth 15 points in and of itself. So even if you get that victory round with 3 eliminations, you can now look to strike up in the top 8. So, and we're only in the 2nd game. We're about to head into game number 3. What does this spell for like all of these other teams?
Yeah, you just have to stay consistent. You have to not fear. If you have a couple of bad games, that's okay. If you're able to get in, get situated, get a couple of eliminations, get some placement points in there. As you can see right now, beyond the first page, it's 11 points up there. But one thing I do want to take a look at here is some of the gameplay that came out from Mongrel, Mitro, and Benji. They were able to play so well, and Lupo even hinted at it, saying at around like top 40 or so, you can kind of smell that they were going to have that victory out. Had the sense of, hey, they were going to get high ground. They had everything they needed. It's like, oh, this looks like it's going to be a win from them. Let's hop on in and see how they're able to execute and get this done. And one thing you'll note is when they are on high ground, they're so incredibly disciplined with their angles. They're constantly looking around, adjusting, putting rockets towards their opponents, and then keeping control, working with each other to make sure that they're finding the right targets. I mean, Mongrel's aim on people who are in the air, honestly, you'd think he's using a controller, the way these players just get beamed as they come through, but no, it is just amazing, bro. Just as Mitro would say, that's crazy. They are running it through 38 points up top, and again, always on the high ground. And for me, that's what's so impressive. In a meta where there's so many RPGs, so many shockwaves, the way they're able to not only get initial control, but then run the rest of the lobby without having to drop down and putting themselves in bad situations. They were never threatened. Count the number of times in this clip that bullets or anything are being shot back towards them. Everyone else is so focused on just trying to rotate and avoid damage from above that these guys don't have to do really anything in terms of defensive play, and they can just focus on going forward, and it seems like it's just going to be a win. And honestly, I want to roll this all the way back to Shall We Just Beast, talking about the retail drop spot and how your early game sets you up for an advantage. They have so many tools at their disposal, from ammunition to rockets to excess shields to having enough mats because they had rotations early on to hold the high ground. It just makes it so easy and so clinical. And I promise, if you are a trio or you're just interested in competitive Fortnite and getting better, go and load up these guys' server replays. Watch them play. Check them out on their socials. You might want to actually mute their streams every now and then because they can get a little loud on the comms. Collins does a great job breaking that one down. And let's actually take a look at page 2 of the standings, because as we talked about in the key formats, the top 8 are going to advance. But just so you can get a hint, 5 elims right now is getting you up into that second page. There's 32 teams in each one of the heats. You need to be in the top 25% in order to advance. In Europe, every single one of these guys is impressive, but they're all capable of stringing together a couple of good runs. We have 6 games. A third of them are down. Now it's kind of like the meat of it. In the next 2 games, you don't want to fall out early. So expect to see some intense battles early on, and maybe a little bit more passive play. Kind of in the mid game, people don't want to get dropped out. You don't want to see a third game and then fall out and realize, oh, with that much more off the pace, now we really need to be pressing forward. I think you'll start seeing aggression in games 5 and 6, but 3 and 4, you'll be playing a little bit more like me. Hanging out, just being like, oh, there's people over there? No, I'm good.
So not like me, who does not even get to play. Got it. Yeah, we'll have to see how things go, because again, like Sunum said, you have to be top 8 if you want to move on to grand finals. So for a lot of these teams, I think we're going to see that though. Maybe even some teams that are even on, say, page 3, they want to try and make top 8. They might just say, look, we're going to contest MMB at retail. Let's just go for it. We have 6 games. Let's try it once. If it doesn't work out, we'll change up the plan. But I mean, I know that's a tall order. I'm aware.
I wouldn't say, like, so retail loot is strong, but there's a reason why you see the most dominant teams kind of staking their ground in retail, because it's like, come and challenge us if you want, because if anything, that benefits us more. We're confident that we can take those early game fights with you. Like, if you want to split and try and do the blacktop houses, like, that's fine, but these guys will end up running it. They will take the chance, because for them, like, they see 50 bucks, they see points on the leaderboard, they want at least to climb this way up. No, it's serious. That's how MMB, that's how Volks and them, that's what they look at retail as. If you want to come there that confident, and the mental game is so important, particularly in a heat structure like this, where if you, in the first 2 games, if you are hanging around off this page, if you're not in direct contention, you might think, man, I'm struggling right now. Like, we really need to get into it, but in reality, you're able to string together 1 or 2 strong games, or even a victory royale right now would put you through, right? Yeah. And any of these guys are capable of winning one of these games, so I think they can do it, but it's all about keeping a strong mental game as you're going through.
It's tough, man. I mean, as much as I want to see Shy eat a jar of mayonnaise, it would be kind of cool to have a new trio come up and, you know, dethrone MMB. I am about that, but it's just going to be a lot about mental game, you know, like you're saying. If you start to just lose your confidence even just a little bit, that's going to affect your potential placement in top 8. We'll have to see, though. I'm getting a little too excited, Fortnite fam. I want to see more of this. But yeah, I think we're getting ready. Battle bus, the players are boarding. Will be there in just a moment. I think we have a package here in just a moment. But what do you think, man? So, do you think, like, where is Aqua? Did we see him? Is he on page 1?
They're not in this heat. They're not in this
heat. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's different heats. It's okay.
Different heat.
This is just heat 1. So,
which brings
again,
me to my
just to
next
remind
point.
people, is a little too excited here. There are 4 heats coming through in Europe. 8 teams will be advancing and going on. And the way you're able to kind of score and work your way up is through eliminations and placing higher up. Though in Europe, particularly, they have the highest amount of participation. So all of these players they are at the very tippy top, right? This is the top 0.001%. Right. These are the best of the best and the people who are very able to, like, compete against these guys. So like they're able to elevate their game on a particular day. However, as we're sitting here able to like have our own predictions, there's a reason we all think Mitro, Mongo, and Benji have done it. There are repeated trios who have shown they're consistently stronger and that much better than the rest. It's not like we're basing this off of like who our favorite players are, right? It's going and looking at it and breaking it down. But for now, we're going to throw to a 10-minute break while we sort some stuff out on our end. We'll go talk to the bus driver, try and get that going. You guys take your bio breaks, whatever you need. We'll be right back.
Hello family of Fortnite, BallTW here, and throughout the Fortnite Champion Series, we're going to be trying to get more acquainted with the world of competitive Fortnite. Today, we're going to be discussing the 3 different stages of a competitive Fortnite game. The early game, the mid game, and the late game. And what different players have as their goals during these stages in order to achieve the ultimate goal, the Victory Royale. Let's start with the early game. Also called the looting phase, this is where all players are attempting to secure their chosen landing spot and maximize their loot potential. In competitive Fortnite, every game matters. So players try to strike a balance between high loot opportunity and safety so as to not waste the game by being eliminated early. Do you drop at a high loot POI like Retail Row or Paradise Palms? Or land at a safer POI on the edge of the map, where less players drop because of less loot. Regardless, the goal is common. Whether you take a passive approach by looting safely on the side of the map, or an aggressive and risky approach by letting others loot for you and finding early eliminations. Now that we know what the early game is, what should we be looking out for during this stage? First things first, being contested. The first realization players make when landing is whether you're being contested or not, to prepare for the upcoming possible fight. Trios want to try to force your opponent into the more disadvantageous position cut off from loot potential. Either they have to make a desperation push, or they're stuck with less loot where you can easily clean up. That's just the beginning, as even though it starts off high intensity with all the different POIs being contested, it quickly slows down as the rotations begin towards first zone. Looting doesn't end here, and most competitive players will have a loot path, which optimizes their possibility for finding the crucial mobility and weapon upgrades. Thanks to the new battle map feature in the replay mode, we can study these loot paths and rotations quite easily these days. So go check that out in any replay from the Fortnite Champion Series by going into the Compete tab and finding your favorite player. It will vary from game to game, but generally, we move into the mid-game around the middle to end of second zone. The mid-game is the calm before the storm. Before the storm circle gets too small where it forces the engagement. Most players' goals are position, but in some cases, depending on how the early game went, you again have to strike a balance, this time between looting and farming, or going for the best position. Looting could include playing extremely aggressive to earn yourself other players' loot. In trios, it's much harder to play that aggressive play. These fights take longer and cost more. You want to be efficient with any rotations or fights you have to take. You don't want to spend your precious mobility, valuable resources, or health. This is why you'll see a lot of the top players look directly for center zone in the mid-game. When you're in the center zone, you end up giving yourself the most chance when the next storm circle gets revealed. You'll then have to go less distance and thus spend less materials. Finally, the end game. The most exciting, hectic, thrilling, and difficult part of competitive Fortnite. The end game can be confusing and hard to process, but it will also be one of the most rewarding and fun times to play and watch. This is when you take all the advantages you built in the early game and the mid game and use them to push yourself to a victory royale. Also find as many current Fortnite Champion Series format, every elimination matters, just like it did in the World Cup. From 6th zone onwards, where the calm from the mid-game explodes into a cacophony of cheaply and have the most opportunity on the rest of the server for elimination, as they have the top 1 view. You'll also see teams call out the need to find a good layer, which is away from other players, both above, below, and horizontally. You'll see teams desperate for the extra materials to last them through to the full zone. Impact eliminations, where they can take the weaponry of their fallen opponents. Quick stock in the stage of the game. The early game, when you're trying to get the best possible loot where you're balancing positioning while maintaining what you built during the early game. Spend all the advantages you set yourself up with to earn the Victory Royale. Use this to form your game plan in order to earn as many series points weekend after weekend. And maybe next time, we'll be watching and highlighting your top plays. This was BallTW. I'll see you in game.
Hey guys, try to win. wager here, bringing you a breakdown of one of the most dynamic possible clutch items every trio is utilizing in Fortnite champions. Trios and surviving solos are a way to counter long targets and bases towering above them. Facing off against 3 players usually proves fatal though, as you are vulnerable throughout your whole flight and easily targeted by the trio you're trying to attack. Total rolling walls on the way up from your shockwave can work against this though, but this will be height or foundation easily shot out of your base. Panicking with shockwaves in your own box and misusing them is always an irreversible mistake during the game, giving you poor positioning split away from your trio, costing you golden resources, but ultimately you and your teammates their entire health and shield if used at the absolutely incorrect moment. To counteract the chaos from shockwaves, new and clean strategies are put in place to negate the negative and potential mishaps in certain situations. When going for height, separately boxing up before using the shockwaves and going for height then allows you to have power in numbers as 3 players get a vertical rotation together over one of the competition. Shockwaves throwing angles and targets in the box. When using one shockwave to rotate, saving crucial mats and attracting less attention during your mid-game rotations. You also save your total shockwave count by doing this, allowing for more opportunities to challenge high ground, reprogram the endgame, or rotate mid-game. Countermeasures can be taken too, such as keeping a teammate higher than normal, multiple layers above you, as in the event of a shockwave, you still have someone up high who can rain down and support your trio on a retake. Keeping your own shockwaves handy is a way to as well.
happening anyway, with Middle East wrapping up their first and second round. We have the final results, and we're going to hop into some of the action. And also, I just want to say, my predictions for Middle East are looking pretty good. I know Zeke, that you can check out on the end and also on the prediction and our preview piece we were able to go through, and we talked about what some of our predictions, particularly in the Middle East and European region, are. So make sure you get up to date on that, get what our thoughts and opinions are. But we're going to be hopping into Heat 2, Match 1 of the Middle East region in just a second here. And honestly, I'm excited. It's going to be the first time seeing Middle East in outside of the open tournament format and seeing the top teams really go at it. And honestly, looking at the heats afterward, there are a lot of changes. Now up on the board here, you can see there were some differences in the predictions. One, I will say, I was the one who predicted Flame, Prime, and Hunter up there. So swap Zeke and I's names. But otherwise, Fox, Hero Kappa, and Fiesel were the favorites going through. They performed pretty well. You will be seeing them in the Middle East Grand Final tomorrow. However, Flame, Prime, and Hunter were also able to have a positive day in their heat and advance too. So so far are holding steady, and it's going to be exciting once we get in. There is a different style of play, different kind